but I can't find it. It's not this one. Where is it? Huh. Star Citizen soundtrack? There it is. Boom. Boom. Easy. Easy game. Professional. Right. Zin will be joining us at some point. She's currently busy working on some videos and doing some audio. And she sounds as rough as I sound today. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Please put question in brackets in the chat if you'd like to ask a question during the stream. The content is your questions for the stream, so... Oh. Oh. I'll put up my green screen. Let's go. Yes. You are in time. Oh, the graph of viewers is like watching GameStop stonks. Ah, shit, son. Not financial advice. Noise. Oh. Hi. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're doing well. Oh. Ah. I'm going to be purchasing some hard drives in the next couple of days. It is February! So, what does that entail? It's a new month. You survived January. Potentially in lockdown. Well done. You did good. You did good, kid. I'm going a bit mad. So, last couple of days, super anxious. I'm absolutely shattered. I feel like I've got I feel terrible. I've got migraine going, and well, it's mainly headache rather than migraine, all the way through my head, and it's just from stress. So I'll tell you what I'm stressed about. I'm trying to get. I've got my savings. I've got the savings I've made over the last 7 years, tied up in some stocks and ISAs, and I went. I'll try and get that money back. Try to get that money back. It just sort of won't come out of the account. And I started to get it out, and it says pending, and the money's just going down now. It's just going down, 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 down. It's not coming out, and I was like, what's going on? Why won't you give me my money? Oh, the should have been solved on Friday, and it should have been next working day. So I'm just a bit panicky. It's a bit panicky that all my money's going. It's like I've lost £2,000 already just on waiting for it to come out. It's really panicked me. It's like, what if I don't get it back? Well, that's several years of my life financially just sort of gone. It's only money, eh? But that's stressing me out a lot. Straight, because I just want it resolved. There's not much anyone can do. I mean, I phoned up the bank and they went, it should be resolved by the end of the working day today. Okay, so I'll have my money then. Yep. Will it go down more? We can't say. It'll be when we sell that particular stock. So, okay. Hope everything goes well for you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It is very much first world problems. It's just, upsetting. It's like, come on. I'm trying to save for a house at the moment. Because I want to sort of consider getting my forever house in like 3 or so years. I mean, I'm 35 years old, so I think I should potentially start to look at getting a proper permanent house, and for it to be the house that I live in for the rest of my life potentially. Can I fix your 300 broken Skyrim mods so I don't have to? No.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Thank you very much.
Why am I putting up with your nonsense? Who are you? What is this game? How did I get here? Hope you are doing okay. Savings are fake money for old you, don't worry. About losing a bit, it will go back up.
That is probably true. I will try not to worry. I'm just trying to take it out. That's what I just want to all my money. I tell you what I want to do with money. I'm this is not financial advice. Let's make that clear. I like money being in my hands, ready to invest in things that I want to invest in. If I want to, I don't want to invest it in random stuff that's out of my control. So I want to buy something and then sell it later. Maybe I want to flip houses. Maybe I want to invest in BoredGamer a lot more and buy a load more like computers. But which is probably I was gonna give in my hand-me-downs for my hardware and get my CPU and GPU, which I've been waiting for months. But I'll probably just upgrade her entire rig and things like that. Like, that's tangible things to invest your money in, or my money in, or actually in a lot of people's cases here, your money in, because you've given me donations and stuff. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. I get so anxious about stuff. Like, I did not sleep the last couple of days properly. Like, I'm very stressed. I just need it resolved. As I said, very first world problem. Thank you very much, Premier Boris, for subscribing though. And we will get on to Star Citizen in a minute. I just like to give a little bit of a stress update. Obviously, we look like we're coming to a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And in a couple of months, I'm hoping that we have a little bit of COVID lockdown restrictions being undone or removed. I'm looking forward to Cloud Imperium's offices being reopened. I suspect we'll hear some news about that once we know what's happening in the UK for lockdown. You've got a bunch of channel points and nothing to spend them on, Boris. That is upsetting. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get Zin to be in charge of all this. You see, so hopefully she'll come up with some good ideas. Any ideas on why CIG stopped producing a Lawmaker's Guide to the Galaxy? They still have 46 systems to explain. I hope they do again in the future. I think that it wasn't getting enough views for them. I think they was thought, oh, it's not getting enough views, so it's not great content. Whereas I would have said that it'll get views in the future, and it's sort of like long-term content that help builds the universe out. So hopefully they'll do it again. They'll probably revamp it and redo it. You can get some great stuff though from Astropub, like his lore guides. His lore guides are awesome. Yeah, just highlight every message and word individually. That's a great idea for using channel points. Has the PTU been moved over to the PU today? So as far as I'm aware, it's not, unless it's gone live in the last 2 hours. It's still on the PTU. It's not on the PU yet. But I would expect 3.12.1 to be live by the end of this week. Most of the problems now are Xenothreat specific problems. So we had the Xenothreat test over the weekend. Again, so the individual modules of Xenothreat seem to work pretty well. Yeah, there's some issues and there's some edge cases, and sometimes it didn't work as intended. But the individual modules seem to work pretty well now. However, the blending of all the phases together, there's been lots of problems with phases not starting, and I can't tell if that's intended or not. Like if it's intended for them getting feedback, so that they start the phases long periods after each other, or they intend for you to log out and come back in, or something. But it looked like the phases were not blending together properly. They weren't triggering the next part of the phases in some of the servers I was in. Sometimes they did, and sometimes they did not. When do you think we'll see the power relays last seen in Halloween inside Star Citizen? So, the new resource system, the new power system, by which ships and physical ships will have like damage control and reroute power, and that will have physicalized components being a big part of, is coming at some point. I'm expecting to see a lot of it this year. We can see the physicalization of lots of new components as well this year, including shield emitters, which is interesting because that will literally have physical emitters on your hull that can be individually destroyed to stop shields from being emitted on that part of the ship, which I think is pretty cool. We should see some of this, some of it come online this year. I'm hoping we see physicalized components this year. It sort of makes sense that we do, but I was expecting them last year as well, so. Hello! Thank you for so many people joining me so far. Appreciate it. As I said, question in brackets if you'd like me to answer a question. Hey, Board. How does it feel to be America's second favourite Englishman? You're still going to have to work harder to catch up with Winston Churchill. I heard that the Churchill bust got moved or removed from the White House, which is a shame. Second favourite Englishman is like who else is probably pretty high on there? Stephen Fry is pretty well loved. He's probably more of a British treasure than an American. Is Picard? Is Picard? I know Jean-Luc. He sounds French. Patrick Stewart. Is he British? I think he's British, isn't he? Yeah. So Patrick Stewart's pretty high on the most loved Englishman list, surely. There's probably lots of other people that aren't me. So Zin may be joining us in a bit. As I said, she is busy working on the February update, the new outro, and some quantum/dynamic universe simulation dev response stuff that Tony Zerovic put out on Spectrum. So apologies today if I'm a bit slower or more stressed or a bit anxious or I stop a bit early today. As I said, pretty anxious, pretty tired today. So you'll have to bear with me. Have they done anything to make it so people don't go shooting starships in a barrel at Rex? So, okay. There have been updates to Xenothreat, so things to help prevent PvP in those areas being just stupidly easily engageable in. So, a couple of things are you don't get the access to the mission if you're a criminal player, and you don't get and the Rex site is now covered by com array, so you get criminal ratings if you're there. There might be other ways they do it in the future. So the Xenothreat event at the moment is extremely PvE orientated. You can definitely make the argument that there's going to be, or there should be, a lot of Star Citizen, which is the ability to engage in PvP. It's pretty open world, all that sort of stuff. But there are certainly elements of Star Citizen which are mostly PvE and are intended to be PvE for 99% of the most part. There is going to be gameplay for PvP and PvE players, yes. Star Citizen has always been a focus on it being suitable for all ranges of player, but most of the content you're going to consume in that game for the average player is going to be hugely PvE orientated. There's 90%, 10 to 1 NPCs to players, sort of as the population that they want. So, yeah, they will have PvP and that sort of stuff in a lot of the future events, and they may even introduce it into Xenothreat in a tangible way. So when I mean by tangible is you want to give reasons. You want to give reasons for those PvP players to do things, and give them missions, give them ways of doing it. But you want it to not be super easy for them to do that, and you want it to not ruin the event for anyone else. You want the ideal scenario is to have pirate players, PvP players, and PvE players all being able to do that event and all feeling satisfied from it. I don't play PTU. What's the cargo part of the Xenothreat event? So the first part of the Xenothreat event is for you to restock a javelin. So there's go to Jericho, and nearby in the gas cloud, you can see it on the screen here. There's some Starfarer. There's some enemy ships which you blow up, and then there's some Starfarer wrecks, which have some pirates in them. So you go in there, clear them out, open up the cargo bay, and then there's a load of cargo that you need to take from one area, the wreck site, to Jericho. And there's 3 different types of cargo that have to be transported effectively in different ways. One of them's quantum sensitive, so you can't quantum jump with it. One of them's time sensitive, so you've got to get it to Jericho before the timer runs out, otherwise it's useless. And the other's explosive, and if your ship takes too much damage, boom, explodes. And that was causing lots of issues originally with PvP players that were just zooming in, shooting a cargo ship and zooming out, and the area wasn't com-arrayed, so they didn't necessarily get any form of criminal rating for that, and it was almost impossible to stop because it's just how quickly you could do it. Yeah, that helps a lot with that. But yeah, the cargo thing is that you then take the cargo to Jericho, and then you talk to you use the trade terminal there to basically sell it to Jericho. You get money, and it counts towards the mission completion. And once you've got a certain amount of each of these containers, the javelin is restocked. And it goes on to the next part. However, there is also the chance that during that phase, more ships will spawn in the wreck site, more ships will spawn to attack the cargo ships, and an Idris and little fleet can spawn to attack the javelin, which is in dock, so very vulnerable. James Hollaby, or Hoiby, look out, Chris Roberts is creeping up behind you. Here's some dollar to put forward to an alarm system to keep him out in the future. I want Chris there. He is my alarm. It's just checking. Just making sure no NDAs are broken. Making sure everyone's enjoying the game. Any idea what you'll name your ships in 3.13? So yeah, we're expecting ship names and ship name customization in 3.13, so the next major patch, end of Q1. My ships will mostly be named, I think, by the community. I'll do a load of polls for it. Thank you so much for that donation there, James. Thank you, thank you. With the price difference between the M2 and the C2, do you think the M2 will have any additional features that haven't been announced? Probably not. It's going to be more heavily armoured, which is mostly most of the expectation I have for it. But I suspect that when we have physicalized components, that'll be significant. Yeah, that'll be... It is a military version, effectively, of that ship. It's going to be a lot more resistant to damage when the shields are broken. Do you think there's any valid cause for concern for the game not releasing at a decent state and just failing? Jagvision. So, yeah, to some extent, of course. Like, I think people would be mad to say, nah, it can never fail. Nothing's too big to fail. I think it's very unlikely that Star Citizen will fail. I think it's extremely unlikely. So, I think it's much more reasonable to go, are there going to be elements to Star Citizen that might be bad, or might not be as fun, or might need more work, or is there going to be a long development cycle? All these sort of things. They're much more reasonable to say. Yeah, but, I mean, it's fine to question things about Star Citizen's development. It's fine to go decent state, good gameplay. The question those individual gameplay loops. Why is the development taking so long? Well, we sort of know, but it's fine to ask those questions, and it's fine to talk about them. You want to keep CIG on the ball. You want to have questions answered for new and old backers and people following the project, and you want that information to be freely out there so that when random journalists research Star Citizen, it is easily available to them, and there's no excuse for getting information wrong. Why do you have no hair? I do have hair. I've got hair on my face, I've got hair on my ass, I've got hair on my back. Why are you so rude? People can ask that. It's all good. It's wasn't necessarily rude. Would be at a dinner party. Do you think there's any valid? I literally just read that question out. I'm an idiot. Is the Hercules a valid option for cargo runs? Yes, and I think that the C2 especially going to be pretty good for cargo running, and if you need to land on planets or land in atmosphere, I think the C2 is probably a preferable choice compared to the Caterpillar. I think I believe it is more suited for that. Is it more of a thing for like relocating ground vehicles and equipment? It also has those options that the Caterpillar doesn't, so it can transport large vehicles like the tank, like the Tonk. Nova Stonks. That's what we should invest in. Nova for the Stonks. Nice. I have not watched the Flash Gits video about Game Stonks, but I love orcs in 40k. And so, obviously, Flash Gits reference there. And Game Stonks, I imagine orcs buying Game Stonks because they love the stock. Oh, Fab Orgs, thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated. I like money, and $13.68 is a nice amount of money for me to like. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I encourage more people to be like Fab Orgs. Your opinion on soloing the C2 in safe space? Yeah, I think it's going to be a very viable cargo hauler. I think it's very, yeah, I think it'll be reasonable to do. Once we have dynamic economy, ferrying stuff in safe space, it'll make you a living, but it's never going to be high reward. Well, maybe not never. It's less likely to be high reward. Oh, I've lost all of my questions. Sir Patrick Stewart, indeed. I apologise for saying. What else have we got? Do you think 3.12.1 will go live today? I'm thinking by the weekend. I don't think today, personally. I think they're getting ready for its live deployment, but I think they're going to want to do a couple more and make sure the Xenothreat's working fully as intended, in my opinion. That doesn't mean it won't be. I did not buy any Dogecoin. However, I did say to Zin's partner a few weeks ago that we should mine some Dogecoin because there was a pump and dump into it. I was like, Dogecoin's going to get a lot of traction at some point when someone else does a pump and dump. And if you get on at the right time, you can make some money. And he was like, oh, and I was like, shall I buy some? And he was like, no, that's stupid because it would just burst and you lose all your money. Or it just be halving value, and there's too many Dogecoins out there. And he's sort of right. In my opinion, Dogecoin is massively artificially inflated, and we can see that. But it's a shame I did not buy it then, because you've been able to make like 10 times on your money. But it's the same as rolling a dice or going to roulette wheel. If you know what the number's going to be before you spin, then it's not betting. It's not. And there's no way I would have known that Dogecoin was going to go up massively because of because of Reddits and stuff. So there's a cap on my water. Rockstar, it's not much, but I hope we can take away a tiny bit of... Oh, thank you so much. No, look, please do not send me money to alleviate financial stress. It is not a, oh God, I need money issue. It's, I want my money that's rightfully mine, that's already mine, and it's out of my hands currently, me getting it back. That's the issue. Yeah, it's not... it would not be alleviated by someone giving me £10,000. That would not alleviate my issue. I want the money that is supposed to be mine in my hands, accessibly. You know what I mean? I don't like things being unresolved. This cover Star Citizen doesn't like things being unresolved. Oh, lol, lol, lol. Hello, hello! I'm not sure I'm doing a weird humming voice singing thing. Throat music? Voice? Throat singing? If an opinion on me exchanging my cutlass for a C7 F7C for bounties, for a Hornet for bounties. Oh. You can run the cutlass for bounties. You can run a cutlass for bounties. With the right loadouts, it's solid for bounties. Do you think hangars will be able to be rented like apartments for ship storage when physicalized inventory comes? So not immediately when physicalized inventory comes, because physicalized inventory is sort of coming in two stages. Well, there's two sort of parts to it in 2021. So there's the first step of physical inventory, so that you won't carry everything with you, and some stuff will be in certain places and all that sort of stuff. And then later on, they're having more physicalized lockers and shelving and stuff like that as well, coming later in the year, so that you can store stuff more appropriately. Now, yes, in the future, I do expect that you can buy and rent hangars or have your own personal hangars and habs in some way and store things there. Also on cargo decks, you'll be able to rent space, they've said. But also expect them to have more common starport hangars as well, which might charge you some fees for having your ship docked there for a while. But there will be a common landing area as well in most landing zones. Are ships always going to spawn in like they do now? That will evolve somewhat, and it will be dependent on where they are. They're going to try and not have them sort of just spawn out of nowhere where possible. They're going to have them sort of come into the game in a sensible way, so they'll be spawned in a hangar that you can't see and then opened up, or an NPC or some sort of auto AI will fly it to the pad from somewhere else, and things like that. Is that they want to do it as diegetically as possible. They want to do it as non-spawny in as possible, and they don't want to break your immersion. Do you think capacitors? How do you think capacitors will impact space combat? I don't 100% know. I know that they are basically making you have to think about where you put your power in dogfighting, especially, and generally more the multi-crew gameplay stuff. So it's going to be really important, but I don't know exactly how it's going to impact gameplay. I know it will be significant, though. It's not necessarily a bad idea to go for the Hornet to replace your Cutlass with a Hornet. That's not necessarily a bad idea. But I would personally prefer the Cutlass and outfit it better. If you go on to the support.rsi at support.robotspaceindustries.com, there's the loaner matrices on there, and you can see what ships are available for what. Polaris in Q1 2022, how likely is it? I'm expecting to see the Polaris Q2 2022. That's where I currently am hedging my bets where it will turn up. Does the upcoming physicalized inventory system contain the physicalized components in ships? Not as far as we are aware, no. We are still waiting to work out exactly where physicalized components are going to land. However, CIG have got individual components being physicalized on the roadmap at the moment. So they talk about them sort of individually, and they're working on the power system and the physicalized component system and physical damage system all at the same time. So expect to see more of that later this year. Will it be that they slowly phase in physicalized components from patch to patch? Yes, certainly with some of them, but obviously some of the core systems that are typically power plants and shields and things like that, I would expect to come sort of all at the same time. And when would that be? Don't know exactly yet. Expect to see some roadmap updates explaining where that's going to be later on in the year. Hey Board, it's me, Sally G. Do you know if there will be a political divide to choose, or political divides to choose from, like you can in Elite Dangerous, constantly changing, etc.? There's going to be factions and reputation for lots of different systems, so you could go and side with the Ninetales or Xenothreat or all this sort of stuff around different areas in different systems. So in that sense, political divides. There's going to be Lani Addison is going to influence the game. The Imperator that we voted on, that choice will influence some of the game lore and like missions and stuff moving forward. But yeah, there's going to be factions constantly at war, and you can choose your sides there in a lot of those situations. And that should change. I mean, the quantum system, the dynamic universe simulation, will track all of these missions and all the things they do, and build content around that, or get appropriate content around that. Do you happen to know what all went into the latest update? I don't know what you mean exactly by that. You need to be more specific with that. With the Polaris going into production this year, do you think we'll see it in December or in 2022? I think we'll see it in 2022. I think we'll see it. I think they'll show some bits of it this year. Sort of like really early white box type stuff. I do like... Oh, Spiffing Brit's a good chap as well. What happened to cockpit interaction animations? They're working on them. I think you'll see them this year. You'll see them for more and more cockpits as well. Some of them already have some of them. So, preying on rock miners has become fairly common among pirates. Any thoughts balancing out? Do you literally mean people running up and nicking the contents out of the back of the rock quick and running off? Is that what you mean? No worries. Thanks for the questions. Appreciate it. Do you think dangerous space weather like X-ray bursts and gamma bursts will be a thing? Space weather will be a thing. Environmental hazards will be a thing. Pyro is a good example. That's got a flare star on it. And you've got the coil in the Orion system. In the Odin system. Orion system? In the Odin system. Halala. With the potential release of Horizon and Crusader in 3.14, that is where it's planned to be released at the moment, Q2 of this year. Do you think we'll see some better looking clouds and cloud updates then? You're getting some tweaks and improvements to the standard system in 3.13 as well. I think you might see additional updates to visuals of clouds and things like that as well. Yes, technically Crusader is advancing cloud tech. However, it's different from weather and it's different from clouds and planets. But I do sort of think they are being worked on at the same time. If I mailed Chris Roberts like $500 and my gamer tag, what do you think he'd do? They probably would contact you and say, do you want to ship? Or they'd give you $500 store credit or something. That would be my expectation. 1 second. I am just going to bio real quick. I've drunk a ton of water for my headache. It's playing havoc. Chris, keep him busy. Tell you, one of the things I do a lot more when I'm anxious is I wash my hands a lot more aggressively and for a longer time. Zin isn't in the other channel at the moment. She did say she'd be jumping into live once she's finished her work, or not as stressed. I think she has had a bit of a rough day as well. Oh. I think her cat was sick under her bed. I was like, oh, that's rough. Just to clean up. Are you for or against the ability to charter bounties for any reason? Trolling, petty revenge, secondhand stream sniping. So I think there should be 2 sets, like there are in game currently, of missions or bounty boards. Legitimate bounties, which you can put on criminal players. Yeah. And assassination missions, which you can put on players as well, but they're not legally endorsed. Yeah, and then the game systems sort the rest out. If you want to get away with an assassination, you'll have to take that player out when they're not in a comrade range. Yeah. So I suppose I'm for that gameplay if it's done correctly. For everyone who just got here, including myself, could you explain Universe Sim? So, Tony Zurich, genius at Cloud Imperium, talked about, in 2019, the Dynamic Universe Sim, otherwise known as the Quantum System, or Quanta. It is very different from quantum travel. It is basically the system by which the dynamic economy is handled and NPCs move around the universe and probability volumes occur. So everything in the game will be tracked. All those stats will be put into a big simulation and then used to drive where NPCs go, move around to, and they're not physicalized NPCs, they are either virtual NPCs or in the most case Quanta, so basically lightweight simulated NPCs, which will go from point A to point B to mine a node, to do some mining, and then go back. And the Quanta might get attacked by Quanta pirates, and there might be some losses of resources there, and some security forces might engage them, and things like that. But the idea is they go around the verse, and they do things, and as players move around the verse, there's a probable chance that they get an encounter, or something will happen, or they're getting interdicted, or attacked by pirates, or whatever, and the quanta system drives that and makes sure everyone's got the appropriate loadouts. It has all the chances of those probabilities. It has the what type of forces will be in those areas, all that sort of stuff. So if you do a mission, that feeds into the quantum system for everyone. If you kill a pirate, that feeds into the quantum system for everyone. So because of this, you have this economy which will change over time as well, but also when these resources get taken from one area to another, they then can be refined into other goods, and then it will moved into another area, and then factory nodes will turn those things into goods, which are then sold in game. So it's all simulated and everything, but nothing's faked. Will character reset fix infinite loading screen? McKinney, go check in support.robotspaceindustries.com. I don't know if that's a fix for 3.12's branch at the moment. I would expect it would. It has previously been a fix. However, it should always be last resort. It should always be last resort doing a character reset. Thanks, Craig, the Space Bump, for doing that lovely deep fake video with me of BoredGamer Gone Wild. Appreciate it. One of my mates, in fact, Zin's partner, DC, was going to do some deepfakes of me, and we've just worked out how easy it is to do if you've got enough processing power. So we'll be looking at doing some silly stuff in the future, for sure. When are the armistice zones supposed to be lifted? So for space stations, they are around the space and space stations for ships. For FPS gameplay, they're not yet. However, in 3.13, we're getting spawn lockers. Now, spawn lockers will allow them to spawn and despawn NPCs at stations, at landing zones, that sort of stuff, and therefore have security forces and NPCs sort of like reinforcing and stuff. So you could see it from 3.13 onwards. The rest of the armistice zones and FPS get sort of lifted. So that was the quantum system. So I've gone a bit sporadic. I apologise. My head's a bit I'm a bit scatterbrained today. In physics, a quantum, plural quanta, is the minimum amount of any physical entity, physical property involved in an interaction. Well, that sort of makes sense because quanta in Star Citizen's dynamic universe simulation are the lightest possible weight of tracked NPC. Sort of tracks potentially millions of these real-time moving quanta to then appropriately fill out the universe with events and content and all that sort of jazz for players. So when it's physicalized, it'd be like, well, so what's happened here? An event's happened. Okay, so player's traveling from here to here, and he's been stopped. Oh, there's a pirate attacking a cargo convoy. Okay, cool. Get involved in that, or do you just sort of? Hardcore question. I think it's a hard one. Does CIG have to overhaul their servers once iCache and server meshing is completed? It will come with new server tech, so it's new tech. they don't have to overhaul it, as it were. It's all sort of getting updated at the same time, as far as I'm aware. So I mean, server meshing and iCache itself is the overhaul. Sorry, if you be more specific, Cointos, I can probably try and answer that better. Will there be new servers, new databases and stuff once iCache and server meshing is out? I would expect so, yes. It should be quite a significant change, because all those servers then need to mesh together, and they need to be able to seamlessly share data. But the basics of that are there at the moment, just a single server that's getting ready for server meshing. What are something that you're expecting Cloud Imperium to delay? Oh, features? Salvage, probably, again? Oh my god, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Have you had time to pick the January winners? Or was that coming later this week? The video is going up for that later today. On the Reddit, it's already been announced of the 5 winners. What are your favourite shoes? I don't have favourite shoes. My slippers? Got some lovely slippers. They're currently my favourite shoes. Or shoe-like appendages. How are the giveaway winners announced? Via video and on the Reddit. I'll say the Reddit, BoredGamer Reddit. Below my videos, or in the description of my videos, you can see links to that. Do you think with Crusader on the roadmap, that updated planetary clouds that look much better will be released at the same time as we talked about earlier? Far down the road, might we see intergalactic jumps? Like, could we possibly visit Andromeda? I suppose there is the potential for quantum, for jump points to go hugely far distances. Hugely far. Really far distances. You've got to remember as well that the Star Citizen star map is not real. It is a fictional one. Or at least semi-fictional, I should say. Hey man, just wanted to say I really enjoy your content. I really enjoy watching you and Zim play Star Citizen. I appreciate it. We'll be doing that a lot during February and with the Xeno Threat missions going live. What are you most excited about this year? You can only pick one. A possibility for Pyro, I suppose. What's your favourite cut of steak? Ribeye? And how do you prepare a cook it? If possible, sous vide and then finish off on barbecue. Charcoal grill. Yeah. Happy to reverse sear that bad boy as well. Is running scrap a viable business model? So it should be. In Star Citizen, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to the most, is using my reclaimer to do salvage. Where the hell is my Ares? Ares is planned for, is it 3.14 at the moment? Let's have a quick look-see to see if that is accurate. Or is it 3.15? It's 3.15 at the moment, so the Q3 patch. Just bought 3 Idris worth of game stonks. We'll do Idris giveaway after Diamond Hand squeeze. Nice. You're a monster. Not financial advice. Hashtag. Still no new Origin ship. So lots of rumours about the 400i. Could see it with 3.12.1, maybe. Could see it with 3.13. Might not see it ever. When will the giveaway winners be announced? They are up on Reddit at the moment, and they will be announced properly, well, again, in a video later today. Where can I go in Earth's in the Sol system? We don't 100% know yet. When Sol's there, I would expect us both to go and have a look at pretty much everything. Although Earth might be reasonably locked down as like a super major landing zone. Super secure. Assuming that we're not locked off from Earth, from the Sol system for any reason. So... when do you think we'll have the Kraken in game? So... I think the Kraken's quite important for them to have pirate sort of raids coming out of, and for missions to take Kraken and pirate like infestations out. They sort of make sense for pirate bases for NPCs and stuff like that. So I actually think it's probably reasonably high priority for them. Sort of like, could we see it at the end of 2022? I think that's a bit optimistic, but it's possible. Yeah, I'm not a Star Citizen developer. A lot of the stuff that I answer will be my reckon opinion. So my only owned ship is the Aurora from the game package. I'm thinking of exchanging it for a higher cruise ship. Any suggestions? So stepped upgrades for the Aurora. Venture Titan, but that's still a single player ship. And then you're looking at stuff like the Cutlass Black. I think the Cutlass Black is a great choice for an upgrade ship if you've got the dollar. When do you expect the Perseus to make its glorious entrance into the verse? Mid 2023, unless it's a priority. That's my feeling on it, because I think they're going to be working on the Polaris as the sort of next big ship, and then probably the Bounty Merchantman after that. I'm hoping that trade is fixed for the most part, and the trade consoles and general shops and ship spawning stuff is all fixed for 3.12.1. That's my hope. I'm expecting it to be fixed then as well. How do you view PvP and griefers? PvP is largely legitimate in some areas. Obviously, it is not supposed to be rampant PvP in the Xenothreat event. It is, for the most part, a PvE event, and to sort of bear that in mind. Griefing is very different from PvP. Griefing would be typically bullying or trying to get an emotional response, or exploiting or breaking something, or trying to ruin something just for the lols, full stop, and literally just going, I'm going to fuck over this because I can. That's more griefing, for the most part. I mean, there's difference between griefing and tasting the salty tears of people that you don't like as well. Or, you see what I mean? But I do think stuff that is obviously griefing, which is, as I said, bullying would be a genuine bullying, is very different from PvP. And PvP, the way that you'd deal with PvP, that you don't want it in certain areas, is that you put in-game systems in to deal with it. So you have try and drive the PvP players into certain areas, have some areas that are much more safe because they've got better security, better defenses, and have better detection. So, and that detection is being shared with all the sort of like lawful players. Do you consider them part of the experience, space being dangerous and whatnot? So yeah, I want Star Citizen to have PvP in it, and I want all the servers, everyone to be on the same mega server, yeah? However, I want some areas to be pretty much free from PvP. I want some areas to be significantly PvE orientated. I don't want Earth or Terra or some of these other areas to have that form, have PvP in it, at least not rampantly, and at least, yeah, sometimes really rarely, you might get like an assassination or something that's gone really well, really thought out, really rarely. Org wars might be a different thing. Like, if you declare war on another org, maybe like in EVE, you can sort of like engage them wherever you want. But if a pirate tries to get in the around Terra, I want them to not. I want them to be just blown apart as they get in the system, sort of thing. When do you think they will implement the map that you can find at the bottom of the cockpit? Huh? I don't know exactly what you mean. But they are updating the star map star map app. So at some point we'll have a better star map, better looking star map. When do you think that? When do you think the merchantman will be out? Oh, mid 2023. Something like that. Any thoughts on the GamerX video on Star Citizen? So, a few good points. Largely opinion-based on a lot of factual inaccuracies with GamerX video. A lot of sort of like, unfortunately, they've done only a very small amount of research into whether fact that some of these facts that they were talking about and referencing were actually accurate. So was not a massive fan of the GamerX video, but I also don't want... I want people to be able to know that Star Citizen is not the most accessible for people to find out about it. Like, it doesn't do itself any favours with its complexity of what is its development doing and why is it doing it to the outside world. You have to do a lot of research to understand what's going on, or watch content like mine, which interprets that, but there's so much to now sort of absorb there that, yeah, as I said, Star Citizen doesn't do itself any favours. And it's good to know that. It's good to know that some people will see Star Citizen as this sort of like vaporware project. Some people will see it as, why is it 20 billion years of development, 200 billion zillion dollars? Sort of, it's, yeah. I don't expect everyone to do all the research in the world, especially for YouTube channels that have to pump out videos quickly. I would expect a little bit more journalistic quality with some channels than others. But I'm not going to overly hold it against these people. You watch this video and you sort of know what's going on, and you can research it yourself. So... did not agree with most of it. I agreed with some of it though. I'll potentially do a response on it in the future. But it doesn't... Star Citizen isn't for me to defend it. I'll report on the Star Citizen news, and I'll talk about Star Citizen, and I'll report on what CIG have said, and I'll point out inaccuracies, or this is... I didn't like this because this video was, you know, critical without using actual... just using anecdotal evidence as facts. Sort of... Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure where Sandy is on the project. She's on the board. She's on Star Citizen, or the Cloud Imperium board. I'm not sure if she's still VP of marketing. They've got a full-on proper marketing department now. So I suspect that she gives some input to the direction of that marketing and the company. But she may have, other than that, she may effectively be pursuing her own interests, which I would expect would be acting. You'll still see her occasionally. That would be my expectation. Last night, Cloud Imperium did a database update to the launcher website and servers. It said so on their status website. Do you know what that was about? Getting ready for 3.12.1's deployment, I would expect. And generally getting a more robust backend for lots of players in servers together. And they are trying to deal with desync and stability. Do you think Tony should consider renaming it to Quanta AI? Contai. Contai. Yeah, or something to reduce confusion. Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Thank you very much. Archon HL1. Thank you very much for subscribing. Very much appreciated, sir. Will space whale hunting be a thing in Star Citizen? Some interaction with space whales is planned for the future as they breach the surface of Crusader. Could it be hunting? Could it just be mining bits off them? We don't 100% know. Good morning, board. Still no announcements on any animals in verse. I mean, they've got teams actively working on animals. They've got space cows and things like that being worked on. Any idea when we could see stuff like aka animals walking around on planets? They are working on it at the moment. You could start to see them, in my opinion, as early as next year. So, yes, there have been exploits in the 3.12 branch for Star Citizen for sure. I don't think they necessarily need to do a character a full reset for that to deal with. They can literally go. Their system should be able to track what players have got and go, well, this guy's obviously exploiting. We'll reduce the amount of credits he's got. So cap everyone at a certain amount or something. Regarding Sandy, do we have the right as backers in a crowdfunded project to eventually know how much the salary board members are pulling in? No, we don't. We do not have the right for that. Would it be nice to see? Would it be nice to have transparency on individual people's wages or board members' wages and a breakdown of that? Yes. And you can ask those questions for sure. I don't know what questions I'd ask next time I'll get to interview Chris Roberts. And obviously, I'm incredibly pro Star Citizen. I love Chris, and I love the development, but there are certain questions I want answered. I'd love to know how much he's earning. I don't think he'd share that, and we do not have the right as backers to know that. But it would be nice to know. What do you think we'll see first, the Polaris or Perseus? Polaris, almost certainly, in my opinion. Will there be different prisons for each system? There will be different. There will be more prisons than just Klesha. Where's John Pritchett? Was Pritchett the original flight model guy? Pritchett. Star. Yeah, so I quite liked Pritchett's flight model when I was using it in 2.6.3. I really enjoyed combat then. But obviously as the game has expanded and they want to get their server, they want to get a finalized flight model that is not overly heavyweight, and they want to get the sort of like networking stuff and server meshing all sorted, they needed to come up with a flight model that was more appropriate for their needs and that they could build on. But John Pritchett was obviously very talented. Response to PvE area. I hope the game keeps track of criminal records and pirate players are monitored when entering PvE zones. Yeah, I would expect in-game systems to deal with that stuff hugely for the most part. And any incredibly clever assassins and pirates and PvP players be able to get a way of going into even semi-secure zones. Is racing back on the roadmap? I think the Grimhex racetrack was on the progress tracker. I'm going to bio once again, for I'm full of water, like a camel. Do you think new features will start to snowball once major iCache and server meshing is in full? Yes. They've basically said that. A lot of the systems they're working on putting into game require server meshing and iCache, or work towards iCache. They don't need it fully 100% super refined and in. They just need it to be in to support a lot of this new content, new plans. But also just opening up the game to having server meshing and allowing the game to effectively have a massive amount of players playing is a huge amount more gameplay that the game can then do, and have multiple systems that people can move between, and then have the Quanta system, and there's a huge amount of stuff. Is there anything confirmed about a new star map? I know they are working on a new star map app and updates to it. How do you feel about the idea of Cloud Imperium releasing Star Citizen with 4 full systems and Squadron 42, then adding additional systems? I would be fine with Cloud Imperium getting to a point where they can have 4 full systems and a huge amount of the gameplay loops in a nice polished state. That's a great idea. However, they are working on gameplay area at the same time as all these other gameplay loops, and have a new studio, or at least the Turbulent-headed studio now, where they're planning to have them focus on gameplay area, star systems, and planets. So they can do both at the same time, and they can probably get a lot more systems out in the medium term than we first thought. We don't need 120 systems at launch, or 100 systems at launch. And what have we got? I'm not sure how long I'm going to be online for, because I have, I've got quite a bad headache. What's a normal session look like for someone as well known in the community as yourself? Do you play much, or mostly report? I don't do a huge amount of reporting. I used to, back in the day. I used to do a load of reporting bugs and stuff, but now I more research more than anything else. I play a reasonable amount. I play a good few hours a week to get either footage, or to jump into some community events, or to mess around, or try something out that I've been thinking. Blur or Oasis? Oh no, I'm not a fan of either. They are giving us multi-tool cutting. They are giving us multi-tool cutting, mining, and likely salvage. Will we see multi-tool welding? I think you'll see multi-tool repairing, yeah. Do you think, or like the idea of them making ships with wheel-based landing gear to be drivable? Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be able to... Yeah, why not? When you're landed, you can scoot around on it. Do it. Do you think CitizenCon will be delayed another year? I think we'll find out their plans for CitizenCon around sort of June time. And I think they'll base it based on what's happening with the global lockdowns. Do you feel as if the floodgates are opening? Not really. I mean... There's definitely more content going to be coming more often, and there's definitely improvements in Star Citizen, and events like Xeno Threat, yeah, really cool. But still waiting on some of that core tech to get in there before more floodgatey. But it's not going to just be silver bullet, oh my god, everything's great. Floodgates mean, well, yeah, a lot more content can come through, and I would expect to see more major, meaty updates on stuff, but it's still not going to be all at once. More substantial updates. Yeah. Where's my Hull C? It should be coming at some point. I suspect the Hull C will appear on the roadmap somewhere later this year. what will happen to Port Olisar? We don't know. So it's going to get replaced at some point, but people think it's going to get a glorious exit by like being blown up in an event, which is possible. Have you tried Shadow recently? I'm finding my own close to unplayable. Glad I built my new PC. Yeah, I've used Shadow recently, and it's good. Sometimes I've had problems with it in the PTUs before. What are your thoughts on the Taurus rework in 3.14? It's not a rework, it's it becoming properly flyable. They have talked about making the constellations have less struts as well. And I'd expect a 10 to 20%, probably close to 20% SCU capacity increase. What's going to happen to the ship shop and other things when Delamar is gone? Are those ships going to be moved? Yes, you will find those ships available elsewhere. Do you think we're likely to see a larger mining ship to fit between the Mole and the Orion? I think we might see modules for like the Caterpillar and some of the other ships to do mining, potentially. But I probably expect another size of mining ship as well, yeah. Because the Orion is very much a strip miner, which is very different from the Mole. Do you think some more multi-crew mechanic? Do you think more multi-crew mechanics will come out with the Polaris? Not specifically with the Polaris, but there are certainly multi-crew mechanics that are going to be coming out, including damage control and physicalized components and repair and all that sort of stuff between now and when it's released. Do you think the Banu Merchantman owners will receive the Hercules until it's released? That makes the most sense, yes. Or at least in the medium term until another ship comes out. Bored, will you play Elite Dangerous Odyssey when it comes out? Yes. They've sent me copies and cool stuff, the Elite Dangerous guys. Do you think we could get a live release client date? I mean, we could, but I'm expecting it more towards the weekend because I think they'll still want to tweak some bits. But it's possible. What priority cat modules would you like to see? Personally, I would just want to see... I want the ability to mount the Idris railgun. Wow. So, Caterpillar modules, I'd like to see salvage mining, tractor beamy, well, more tractor beamy ones. I think we'll almost certainly see an extra like armory area, bunk beds, living areas, things like that. Different types of cargo storage. There's a load of stuff they could do, and there's a load of stuff they probably will do. What do you think to the idea of power to weapons being off by default, and that powering them up to be broadcast locally so it becomes a sign of aggression, as in Star Trek? I mean, they could have it that weapons turn off by default when you're in armistice zones, and you have to power them on again. Something like that. Sorry, this question has been asked already with a sneak peek picture we got recently. Was it Tavaran related? Well, this sneak peek? Talking about this one? This is a space whale, isn't it? I think this is the space whale statue. At least I thought it was. Probably a space whale, yeah? Right? What's CIG's vision for crafting? Thank you. We don't know yet. We don't know. So we know that NPCs and the dynamic economy will make use of resources that are moved around the verse to make products, and then those products will be moved around and fill shops' inventories and build ships and stuff like that. But we don't know what sort of player agency we're going to have to be able to make fuel, armor, ammo, components, ships, or anything like that yet. Expect some, but to what extent we don't know. When do you think beta will happen? 2024 at the earliest? Would you be in favour of a Kraken variant instead of shops? Prison status pods. Oh yeah, I'd like a prison variant. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Do you predict Star Citizen will go the route of NPC crew mainly, or will things skew towards player crews preferred? Player crews will probably be preferred. In some areas, I think that some players are just going to prefer NPC crews. And we'll have to see how it plays out, I suppose. I think there'll be a good mix. Will we be able to buy Crusader with in-game currency? Nope. Do you like the show Expanse? I have not watched anything beyond the first season. But yes, I did like it. I just need the time to watch it again. Thanks for answering my questions before. Do you think CIG will open up more studios as time goes on? I mean, maybe. They opened that turbulent-headed one recently. Oh. What else have we got here? Have you checked out Dual Universe at all? I looked at it ages ago when it was super buggy. I need to check it out again. Do you think Robert should show his face more often? I'd love him to, yes. He doesn't need... I mean, I want him to. I want to see Chris at least once a quarter. At least. I think it would be very beneficial for the project as well for him to do that. Are we likely to see multi-crewed ships only operable with a multi-crew on board? A single player unable to operate a multi-crew ship? It's going to be very hard for a single player to operate, maintain, repair, and keep safe a huge ship by themselves. I just watched Dark Matter, and that show is what I want Star Citizen to become. I do remember Dark Matter. That's they've woken up with no memory, isn't it? Is there a gameplay loop that you would want to see that is not announced yet? I want to see, in the short term, the ability to defend... I want missions to defend ground outposts from waves of enemies, or from other players, or both, and you get money every so often just for holding the area. Just for holding that area. So people will want to hold these outposts for days, and then you'll have people assaulting them. With the new Montreal studio, would you come to Canada for events? I hate travelling, but I think I'll be better for it soon. Like, I do want to start travelling to America and Canada and stuff for Star Citizen purposes. And to visit people like Noob, for sure. Any word on whether the dumb drop bombs for the A2 Hercules will be for the A2 Hercules only, or will smaller versions be made for other craft, e.g. heavy fighters? Good question. I would expect that they will be available for other ships as well, because the features that we have seen refer to it as gravity bombs, basically, and mines. They don't specify just for the A2. We do know that they have been working on a Moab, a mother of all bombs as well for the A2, so that's pretty cool, but it sounds to me like we will be able to have gravity bombs on other ships. Hey, Board, when do you think they will work on or push out the Retaliator module rooms? 3.13 is what we're expecting to see, the Retaliator module stuff. Modular ship starting this year. What is the next gameplay loop they're working on currently getting out? I don't know how to answer that, because it depends on what you define as a gameplay loop. Salvage is being worked on this year. Some medical gameplay is getting worked on this year. Lots of bounty hunting stuff's getting worked on this year. Hey, Board, question. Do you know if Cloud Imperium is planning a Valentine's ship sale, or paint sale, or whatever? I would expect so. Traditionally, on the 14th of February, or around then, they have a Valentine's ship sale. How many games can a BoredGamer game if a BoredGamer could board games? 7 to 12. Are there any informations of when we can expect the whole beat? Nope. They are working on it this year, though. It's on the progress tracker being worked on this year. Take care of that headache, buddy. Yeah, sorry, I've got a put a bad tension headache. It's because I'm stressed. I just want my bank to solve my financial issues by just saying they've got my money and it's not being held by someone else. It's annoying. It's upsetting me. What is your favourite video editing software? I use Adobe. Adobe Premiere. I know priority is a big topic in regards to Star Citizen. Do you think they'll current attention on content and features is the right path? Do you think the current attention on? Okay. Or do you think there is other more important stuff? It's not mutually exclusive. They're working on lots of stuff at the same time. Do I think the priorities look weird sometimes? Yes, I do. Because we don't see the full picture, for sure. Does it always make sense? No, not to me. It does not. However, I do know that they are trying to work on the game and produce this something great. Them having to make it playable with a major release every quarter, which they're going to continue to do until the game is finished, I would expect, has led to some interesting decisions and choices for development, or some ones that aren't necessarily good for the long-term speed of the project. But that's because they want to make it playable each quarter, and that massively influences their priorities, and obviously has been very effective for their monetization model. Retaliator module with 2 Titan suits and dropship module, ultimate dropship. I think there may be some pretty strong dropships in the future. But I do like the idea of Titan suits being dropped out of them. I mean, that's potentially some of the Caterpillar modules you'll be able to get will be like for Titan suits as well. What location is best to initially spawn it into the game? I really like spawning at Microtech, but I've sort of got used to that. Do you think there will be a Xi'an or Tavaran capital ship at some point in the game? Yes, because the Xi'an are a race in Star Citizen. Tavaran, less likely, although it's possible, because they sort of like, in lore, they get Tavaran tech when they find like data caches of Tavaran tech because it's old, and they modernise it. And the Tavaran have been subsumed into the UEE for the most part. But the Xi'an are, they're going to have a full range of ships. Do you like the new roadmap format? It's right. Could look better. Could give us more information. There's improvements they could certainly make. Which guns do you think the pilot fires on the C2 M2? I haven't even thought about it. The ones that aren't unmanned. The ones that are unmanned. Shut up. How much do you think the Redeemer will be once it's available in the store again? I'd hope it'd be between $250 and $300. And you should be seeing it this year. That's the plan. I don't think Zin's here. I think Zin's busy working. And I am going to dash off soon because I've got a migraine and it's only getting worse. So I'll answer a couple of questions super quick if anyone's got any. And then I will dash off. What is your response to people that would rather Cloud Imperium to focus on other core tech rather than cool features like space whales? They're not mutually exclusive. They've got a huge amount of devs that can't be working on the same stuff at the same time, and they're obviously artists aren't the best people to work on netcode and core features. So they can work on it all simultaneously. The people that say they should focus on other stuff, they are focusing on lots of things. You could certainly argue that some of their priorities and moving priorities are a little annoying or a little erratic and confusing, but they are able to work on all of it simultaneously, or large portions of the game simultaneously. Right. I'm going to find someone to host. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm a bit out of sorts today. Hopefully I'll get a couple of videos out in a bit. So we'll be looking at Tony Zorovic did some dev response talking about Quanta and events and stuff, but also just the sort of February update, what's planned for this month and all that sort of jazz. We'll get out as well. I'm going to drop you into you want the Dark Law? You can have the Dark Law. He's a good chap. Love the boy. Right, let's go raid him. Do you think citizen cons are a waste of valuable work time? I think that they do take up some work time. I love citizen con though, so I don't think it's necessarily a waste. I really enjoy citizen con. Really missed it last year because it gives me so much insight into development. Those presentations are fantastic that they do. I loved going to the 2019 one in the UK. It was absolutely one of the highlights of my life. So, no, I don't think it's a waste of time. I forgot the guy's name, but the long-haired bearded guy in charge of the PU, Brian Chambers, said that he liked them because it was an actual time guy. I see, yeah, it pushes them to get stuff done, and it's interesting new things, for sure. But it does take some of the time out of the standard development cycle. Although you could argue that it was their standard development cycle because they were doing it regularly, but obviously didn't do it last year. So yeah, I think they're important, citizen cons. I love them. I love the social event. I love the fact that they can have those, and I hope they continue to have them every year, that they're allowed them, without COVID lockdown getting in the way. But yeah, I love FanFests. Since we can't have the F8 Lightning, would you be up for bringing another RSI heavy fighter into the game? So we all were getting the F8. So the F8, when you get to a certain place in Squadron 42, you'll be able to have access to it in the persistent universe. Probably buy it, the civilian version. You'll be able to buy it off other players as well. So just think putting the work into eating a burger and drinking water seems like a waste of time for me. Just my opinion. That work is part of the survival system, and that's more animation based, a little bit code based. Just sort of keeping the character alive. I mean, those guys can't work on server meshing. We're working on that. I see what you're saying. I mean, I totally understand, but I do think they're working on a lot of stuff simultaneously, and reprioritizing some of these other people is not going to do too much. Yeah? I do see what you're saying. It makes sense. Right. I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it for the money. Appreciate it for the subs. I'll get a couple of videos out today. Sorry I wasn't streaming for longer. You guys are amazing.